Hello, anatomists. Now we're going to look at the last two types of tissue. Previous PowerPoint videos have shown us epithelial tissue and connective tissues, so now we're to muscle tissue. There are three types of muscle tissue, and they all contract. So this is a close-up view of what your skeletal muscle looks like. All these long cells full of contractile proteins. So general characteristics, they consist of fibers, these contractile proteins that contract, shorten, cause movement. They help us maintain our posture, move, and produce heat. The three types are skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. So skeletal muscle is the type of muscle that you think about when you think about muscle. It's the muscle that's connected to bones. This is the only type that's voluntary. So what that means is that you can control it. When you want to flex your arm, extend your arm, skeletal muscles. And from one side of the muscle to the other, you've got individual parallel cells. So when you look at them under the microscope, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, they'll all be going in the same direction. So these cells are very long and run parallel to each other. The other thing you'll see is peripheral nuclei. So they've got lots of nuclei per cell. They're called multinucleated. And why that is that because during development, you had all these smaller cells fused together, each with its own nucleus, to make one really big cell. So each of those nuclei represents an original cell that fused together. Skeletal muscle is striated. So if you look there, you can see the stripes of color. Those are striations. That's the repeating pattern of contractile proteins. So when your muscle wants to contract, those contractile proteins pull on each other, causing the whole muscle to shorten and causing movement. Next, you've got cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle looks a lot different. That's found in your heart. There, the cells are shorter, they branch, and they'll have generally one, maybe two nuclei per cell. They're also striated. You can see the stripes, but they're a little bit fainter. But they've got some darker stripes here. Those are called the intercalated discs. Intercalated discs are cell junctions. So all your cardiac muscle cells, you can see them like here, have these intercalated cell discs where the cells junction together. You've got two types of cell junctions there. Desmosomes that anchor the cells together, kind of like holding hands, they keep them connected. And gap junctions. Gap junctions have those channels where ions can flow through. So up in your right atrium, your pacemaker cells will send out an electrical signal, and it travels through the gap junctions throughout the whole heart to do a heartbeat. And the last type is smooth muscle. This will look pink in our slide, so this is probably the most different. They're not striated, you can't see them. And they're just these single cells that are kind of like spindle or cigar shaped. Their nucleus is large in the middle, and that's where the cell is thickest. You find those lining your hollow organs, like your stomach. It helps us move food. Also, our blood vessels, it helps us move blood. Muscle overview, nervous tissue. There's only one type of nervous tissue that allows us to communicate through electrical signals quickly between areas. You're going to see two types of cells there. Large cells, like this one, are the neurons. Those actually conduct the electrical signal. Then you can see all the nuclei of these smaller cells, the neuroglia, your glial cells. Those are the supporting cells. They help the neurons function. They provide nutrients, like they anchor them down, they form the blood-brain barrier. Multiple different functions of our nervous neuroglia. Okay, so neuron parts. The main portion of the neuron with the nucleus is called the cell body. And then it has cell processes that branch out. Most of the cell processes are called dendrites. Dendrites receive information from other neurons or sensory receptors. They bring information into the cell body, and that either makes it easier or harder for the neuron to send an electrical signal. They send the electrical signal out through an axon, An axon's going to be thicker. It's harder to see in these cells. I'd guess maybe there. Uh, that sends information out to either to another neuron or some kind of effector like a muscle or a gland. So here you can see neurons with their cell body and their projections. I would not ask you to identify axon versus dendrites. And then in the background you see all the neuroglia, the little cells there. And there's the nervous anatomy overview. So those are the 4 types of tissues. Now let's look at tissue repair, aging, and disorders. Okay, so some tissues repair better than others. Some are constantly going through divisions, whereas others, once they're set, fully developed, those cells will never divide again. So epithelial cells, they regenerate really well. They're constantly dividing, repairing themselves. As soon as you get a cut, these epithelial growth factors are released, and the cells around them start to go through mitosis quickly. Not all connective tissues have the ability to repair, but most. Muscles, limited repair. Cardiac muscle can't repair at all. And then nervous tissue, your central nervous system can't repair at all. Your peripheral can a bit. But they are looking at ways to get different types of tissues that don't normally divide to divide. So, like giving the epithelial growth factors to the different types of tissues, trying to get cells to go through mitosis that normally wouldn't. Okay, so a couple different things can happen during tissue repair. The cells that are going through mitosis and dividing do regeneration. You make new cells with the same tissue. Their original function, like epithelium, is restored. But for the types of cells that don't divide, you have what's called fibrosis occurring, where, like in your cardiac muscle tissue or your nervous tissue, when those cells die, when some of your heart muscle cells die, they get replaced by fibrous scar tissue that no longer contracts. So there you're replacing it with connective tissue, and the original function is lost. Then last, aging. So younger bodies regenerate faster. Usually they've got a faster metabolic rate and better blood supply. You can have different disorders. Anytime you have cells undergoing mitosis where they're uh, going through it uncontrollably, they're not stopping when the space has been filled, would be cancer. A lot of connective tissues have autoimmune diseases, and then we'll look more at muscle and nervous system later. And that's it.